am Returning Home by Dilip Chitre. Dilip Chitre is notable Indian poet, critic, painter and filmmaker of modern era, a bilingual writer with great affinity to Marathi. He received the prestigious Sahitya Academy Award for his contribution to the poetry as well as for his translation work. Let us look at the brief introduction about the poem. This poem is very different from all other poems because it deals with the feelings, relationships of a father and his son. It also deals with the lack of communication, generation gap and loneliness which is being faced by an individual at an old age. Let us go through the poem Father Returning Home. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy and his black raincoat, stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books, is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train, like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate men's estrangement from a man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep, listening to the static on the radio, dreaming on his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. Let us go to the style of the poem. The style of this poem is unique. It's a free verse, no set rhyme scheme. There are 2 12-line stanza. The use of language conveys the mood of the poem. Words like sullen, soggy, falling apart, deemed, etc. The tone of the poem is little depressing. The simile used in the poem is very unique. There is the use of fine imagery to describe the pain and misery lurking in the old man's soul. Now, let us go to the summary of the first stanza. At the onset is portrayed the father's journey back home late in the evening. He is one of the silent commuters as the yellow light inside the train compartment. The silent commuters do not engage in any conversation, and the yellow light is not the one that promotes any cheer. The suburbs are sliding past the moving train. The father is unmoved by the scene as he does not find anything new or interesting in it. Being a rainy day, the father's clothes are all wet. The black raincoat is merged with the mud. The bag he is carrying is almost falling apart and he is struggling to handle it. The speaker gives the impression of his father's age by describing his dimmed eyesight. The speaker describes how his father alighted from the train. He uses a simile by comparing his father to an unimportant word in a long sentence. The speaker indicates how insignificant the father is to the crowd in the train. After getting off the train, the father hurries towards his home. The depiction of the father in his own home. The speaker sees his father reach home, drink weak tea and eat stale chapati. Nobody cares for him and he just concentrates on reading a book. He then goes to the toilet to contemplate on how man becomes isolate from the man-made world. The father hopes to find support in the family when he hurries home, but the hope is diminished as he finds the same indifference there. His only consolation is the buried past and the unborn future with sweet dreams of unborn generation. He is lonely and has no scope for any verbal interaction with his family members. The father attempts to escape the present by harboring thoughts about the remote ancestors and unborn generation. His alienation from the family and society has reduced him to be a helpless victim of cosmopolitan culture and sensibility. I hope you like my video. So please like and subscribe it. Thank you.